As I'm sure many of you know, I am a big fan of Japan and traveling to it. I have been quite a number of times, and last year, to no surprise, I went to Japan once again for, I think, my sixth trip. I think it would be boring to hear just from me about another Japan trip because there's a million videos on there about that topic, and I've already made quite a few. So today, instead, I decided to talk with a good friend who I traveled with, Steph, and it was her first time going to Japan. So I wanted to have a discussion with her, just a casual one, about our trip together and what it was like for someone new who's experiencing the Japanese culture for the first time, and compare it to someone like me who has been quite experienced with it. So I hope you enjoy. In
Yeah.
hindsight, do you think you were like overprepared or underprepared?
Oh no. I was definitely like underprepared, but I thought I was overprepared.
What were you
I was like,
underprepared
yeah.
for?
Like I knew I was underprepared in language, but I was just gonna like wing it and
Yeah,
vibe
but
it
like
out.
no one goes to
Yeah.
Japan and knows that much Japanese.
I think I overpacked clothes. I did not
Oh
need that
yeah,
many.
everyone always
I think I
overpacks
needed one.
clothes. I did as
I know.
well.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
but
brought
like
lots of
yeah, I
socks and underwear, which I think is fine to overpack. But
No, that's so fair. Oh wait, that reminds me of another thing that like I was underprepared for. I was
mm,
like very much like Google Maps is gonna be perfect. Like all I need is
oh,
Google Maps, and I had
yeah.
heard that online. But Google Maps failed me.
Okay.
Google Maps glitched out and took me down the wrong ways, and then I would be walking in one direction, and then it'd suddenly load, and it was like, "Surprise! You walked 5 minutes in the wrong direction."
I
It's like,
think
oh, like,
I think a good
yeah,
piece of advice for people: get a phone that can use eSIM cards. Like I never see
yes,
that brought up on
yes.
YouTube Japan travel tips, but like it was ready the night before. I was like, all right, make sure you get your eSIM set up, guys. 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the Uber to the airport. You were like, oh yeah, I couldn't go to
No.
work. And Catherine's like, oh yeah, mine isn't
Yeah.
compatible.
So
So,
yeah.
what were you most excited for about Japan? What was your
Oh
number
yeah. Oh
one
yeah.
thing?
Ooh. Well, so a lot of things is that I guess like in Australia, if you want theme parks, you got like Movie World and SeaWorld and stuff, but we've never been to a Disneyland
Hmm.
or anything other that's like big. I was really excited for Disneyland. It feels really bad to
Was that the
say,
thing you're
but
most
I just
excited for
never
about
gone.
Japan, though?
I think it was like in my top five excited.
Okay.
I think because I can't actually like tier list them properly in my head because I was really excited for lots of things, but I just was excited for Tokyo, just simply being and existing in Tokyo. I feel like that was another peak point that I was excited for. I
Hmm.
just wanted to be there, and I think everything else is like cool and nice, but it's very magic to be in a place, like different languages being spoken, like, you kind of feel the vibes are different from your own culture,
Yeah.
and that's just so exciting. Being international is something that was
I
very exciting
I
for
think
me.
for me,
Yeah.
I was most looking forward to just going with friends
Yeah.
for like the first time and like
Oh
seeing
yeah.
people's reactions be like fresh because I'd been so many
Yeah,
times.
yeah, yeah.
It's so normalized to me now. Like, but I remember
Mm.
when I first went, it was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Ah,
So we
mm.
did Golden Route. We did Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka with a day trip to Nara. I went to Kobe. You went to Hanno in Saitama. Which was
Yeah, I think so.
Tokyo's your favorite, right?
Yeah, I think Tokyo was my favorite.
What a wild first day. Like we flew in through Haneda, which was
Yeah.
my first thing going to Haneda. But then you come out
Yeah.
as a busy train station for Haneda Airport, and then I'm like, all right, get an IC card, add money to it, follow me. I was like, I had because I was like, it was late. I was like, they've got no internet. We need to just survive tonight. I know how to do it. Like I can get us to where we need to be. So I was like, I just needed to lock in. I was like the most locked in I'd been, I think, because I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
that was
responsible. I got to be
cool.
responsible for this.
Huh.
And then that first day
Mm.
we were in Shibuya for a day, which is like probably one of the busiest parts of Tokyo. So that was your
Mm.
first of a day, like, oh, Japanese hostel,
Mm.
Tokyo for a day. Then we caught a we went to
Oh,
Tokyo Character Street in the evening, Tokyo Station, caught a
yeah.
Shinkansen to Kyoto, and then we're in like a completely different city on the other side of the country, all within like the same day. So
So,
how was that
like,
initial
yeah.
culture shock and first day for you? Because for me,
Mm,
I'm like, oh, that was a
yeah.
lot. Time to play my Switch, play some
Yeah.
Picross on the train.
I was like a little balloon that was just attached to you and you just walked around and I just bobbed behind. So, It was an interesting time. I'd say in terms of like culture shock, I don't think I've ever experienced culture shock myself. So that was a new thing for me, and I didn't even know if I would feel it. But I just feel like the experience of being in a 100% new place, new smell, new sound, new people, even because like we were in Australia flying over to Japan, it was like also new temperature. Like we're so used to being warm and hot, so it's just every single thing was very. I don't know if the word to use is stimulating, but it was just like, oh my gosh.
So,
But yeah.
so how was your experience of Japanese hostels? Because your first one was in Ebisu.
Let me just remember where we were in Ebisu, because Ebisu was the sauna one, right?
Yeah, it
Mm.
was the Kyoto hostel was snoring for you pretty bad, shaking
Yeah,
your bed.
yeah, yeah,
Because you sent a
yeah.
message at 2 a.m. being like, "It's shaking the whole
Or
bed," and I was like,
it's
"Man,
shaking the whole bed. Yeah,
that
yeah.
sucks." And I just went back to bed.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it sucks, bro. Oh, yeah.
It was only a week of hostels, and I did 3 weeks of hostels the year prior in Japan, but I'm done with
Mm,
them. I can't do them anymore. Like,
mm. Yeah,
I got
so
someone opened the
yeah.
bathroom on me while I was pooping, and
Mm,
like,
mm, mm. Oh no.
it sucked. And just like the
Yeah.
people coughing out their lungs and snoring, I'm
Mm,
so done with it. Because to be honest,
mm.
like half of the
Yeah,
hostels I stayed at in 2023, it was in like the middle
yeah,
of nowhere, so I was like the only person there in a lot of cases.
yeah,
What were
yeah.
your thoughts on Kyoto, the traditional capital of Japan? So what we did there, we went
Well,
to Arashiyama on our first full day after arriving late at night. Oh yeah, but we also that first day we hung out around Karasuma. We went to book
mm,
off for the first time with you guys, in the Mandarake in Kyoto, Karasuma area. Went to Pontocho and then sat along the Kamo River, which was very nice and it started raining. And then we went
yeah,
to Nara for a day trip. Spent
yeah.
hiked Wakakusayama or Wagakusayama.
That was so
So
good. That
nice.
was amazing.
Yeah, went to
Oh
the
yeah,
arcade
yeah.
there and played a bunch of gacha
So
machines.
yeah.
And then the third day, what did we do? We went to like Gion.
Oh yeah. What did we do?
Went to Gion, and then you had gluten-free
Hmm.
noodles. I ended up sitting in
Yay.
the old palace grounds for like an hour waiting for you guys after I sent you my location, and you couldn't
Yeah.
find it. I walked in a
Yeah.
straight line until I
Okay.
saw the entrance of the park, and then walked into the garden for like,
So yeah. So what happened was, all right. So we all depart, and then a little bit later, Catherine and I were eating our tasty, tasty noodles, and then you sent us a message like, "Cool, I'm here," and then we're like, "All right, we'll wrap out, we'll start going." I think we like you gave us like find me on Google Maps. I'm pretty sure that's what you gave us, right? Like it's
yeah,
my
send you my
location.
location.
I was walking. I was like, "Yep, I'm following where the arrow's pointing. I'm going in the direction of the line." And it just like after like 10 minutes, I pull up the phone and Catherine's like, "I don't know if this is the road's place." And I look at it, and it's like an extra. I noticed an extra like 7 minutes on our journey time. Like, wow, this can't be right. What's happening? And yeah, so we marched in the wrong direction. And then Catherine's like, I don't know if I can trust you." I was like, "No."
Oh yeah, so we went to book off, animate, and
Oh
Mandarake.
yeah,
Which of those
it was
three
so
are your
good.
favorite?
I'm gonna have to say like book off, mainly because like you don't just get your cheap anime goods.
Oh, it's
You also
so.
got like a whole bunch of interesting things there as well,
Hmm.
like just random things.
It's
So
more of
it was like,
like,
oh,
yeah, it's more like the
yeah,
luck of the draw. I think that makes it more fun because you get to hunt for stuff. And I was able to, I'm like, wow, I can actually read Japanese books now. So I think that's made it
yeah.
more fun. Like bookstores in general were just really fun. Like Tsutaya, I love them. They're
Mm.
so good. Yeah.
Oh, guys, the art books, they were all, the book offs had the best books, and I think every single one I was so scared that I was like, no, I can't. Like this is like 3 kilos. I feel like you got some really good art books from the
Hmm.
book
But
offs
even then,
though,
there was like some I
right?
was like, oh, I
Yeah.
wish I could get this. But like, I was like, oh, hold off, hold off.
Oh,
And then
yes.
Catherine
Yeah.
got what 20 kilos,
Yeah.
15 kilos of books.
Catherine was she carried us. She truly she won. She
Well, she
won the
carried a
Japan.
suitcase, that's for sure. 30 kilos.
She is very strong, both both in collecting the things and physically.
I think going with you
Oh yeah,
guys with all the issues you had and stuff like that, it convinced me that I'm like, oh no, I know more about it than I think I did. Like I'm more pro than I
Yeah.
realized. Because I was like, oh,
Yeah,
like I've
exactly.
like been a lot, but like I don't. Maybe I'm not like super confident. And then I was like, oh no,
You
like
got
these are
it.
what actual newbies to Japan look like, and
Ah!
I know it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like that's that's a big thing. Like, because that was one of the things that you were looking forward to, right? Seeing what it would be like for
Yeah,
noobs around. So yeah, we were able to. We made lots of mistakes, and we were learning a lot. But it seemed from my perspective that you had got a pretty cruisy way through a lot of it, and I was kind of
pretty
jealous. I was like,
much.
man, yeah. I was like,
This was
oh,
the
I wish I knew all
easiest
this.
Japan trip for me. The most stress I had was
Yeah.
just worrying about you guys. Osaka,
Mm.
I feel like not much to say because Osaka's the food and party place. I don't eat a lot of food. You can't eat a lot of food, and none of us are
Hey.
like super night clubby party people. I love my
Yeah.
favorite type of food is like I know
Mm.
Japan's like it's like oh wow the food's so good. My favorite food's like the cheap slot. Get
Yeah.
me Bikuri
What's
Donkey,
that
which is
go?
Hamburg steak, Moss Burger,
Yeah.
McDonald's,
Yeah. Oh
7-Eleven,
no.
like cake and stuff like that. I'll eat that.
Okay, but like let me say, like it is so much easier to be gluten free and eat fast food in Japan versus Australia. Like there's so
Yoshinoya,
much more options.
the
What?
gyudon,
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
that
Oh, it was
in
so
Kyoto.
worth.
So, what advice
Yeah.
would you give to a gluten-free person traveling in Japan?
I have so much advice. First one is it is possible. Just the most commonly searched thing in your Google will be gluten-free places near me. Vegan places are often gluten-free friendly as well. So if you see vegan signs, that is already a green flag, and then you can go in and ask like a little
Hmm.
bit more
I think it's just
specifically.
because
And I was like, yes,
vegan's more known than gluten-free in Japan. Like
yeah,
even prior,
yeah.
because I did some research like for you as well, and you did plenty as well. There's
Oh
like
yeah,
no mention
yeah.
really of gluten-free stuff in Japan. And if you look up, people are like,
Mm.
"Well, good luck. Like you won't find anything." But you found a lot.
But yeah, that was I think it was a reoccurring thing because like, okay, mealtime. Oh no, what's Steph gonna eat? Like it was like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, it's like how do we fix this one? But it brought an interesting twist. I like to think
Yeah.
to the trip a bit. So
I
yeah.
wanna properly discover Osaka someday because it just feels like a movie set kind of to me. And I always end up hanging around the train station because I don't really know where to go aside from Dotonbori and like
Mm-mm.
the aquarium. But Kobe to
Yeah.
me is just better Osaka, so
Oh,
I like
you know,
Kobe
I'm
a
so
lot.
jealous. I'm like, oh, Kobe sounded like an absolute dream. And also you got like cute little Christmas markets there
Mm-hmm.
as well,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like Kobe is
It
so
has
on my bucket
it feels
list
like
now.
Osaka a bit
Yeah.
like denser, and I feel like there's more character.
Did
Yeah.
you have Kobe beef at the end
No,
or
but
no?
that's why I've got to go back.
Uh yeah, exactly. Kobe
I did
beef.
have Wagyu for the first time. I had Yamagata. We all had
Mm.
Yamagata beef,
That
and
was
I
nice.
was
The lady
like,
was really cool.
I was like, why are they cooking it? I thought you ate it raw. I was like, she was blowtorching because I thought you ate it raw because that's what the pictures show it.
Oh,
I thought you.
oh, oh, that's really funny.
But then yeah,
Oh,
we went to Tokyo for the last week. We went to Tokyo Design Festa. It was so
oh
busy,
wow.
but it was
It was so
still.
busy.
I didn't. I don't know. It didn't feel super overwhelming. At least I
Mm.
don't. Like
Well,
some of the aisles are really packed, and you're kind of just moving with
yeah.
the flow of the crowd. But like it's chill.
Mm.
Design Fest is. I enjoyed it, and it didn't smell bad, which is nice.
Mm. That's a good point. Design Fester was super chill. Like it felt a little bit more. I don't know. It just felt more chill. I can't explain it properly. How would you say it would be
It
different?
felt
Yeah.
more personalized, I guess, and less
Yeah.
like it felt
Mm.
less like hustly. It just felt like artists because there was
Yeah.
no fan art or anything. It was just real
Yes,
nice.
I think that's the key point. There was no fan art, so people weren't trying to compete.
Hmm.
It's just like you had your own art,
Yeah.
and that's take it or
It
leave
felt
it. Sort
more
of thing.
about the
Yeah,
artists and their art rather than whatever
yeah.
popular anime. Aside from Design Festa, I
Mm,
feel like Tokyo was just like we gotta just do whatever we felt like it. Like we went to Nakano
mm,
Broadway, we went to
mm.
Akihabara, like Tokyo Tower,
Oh,
Disneyland. It was busy
mm.
but fun.
Yay!
Some
Yay!
typical
So
touristy
good.
stuff, but some like other not so touristy stuff. I feel we did. You went to Roppongi a
Mm.
bunch.
Haha, 3 times.
Yeah,
Roppongi
and
was really fun.
but yeah, then the last day we went to the Metropolitan Government Building to get a lookout over the city, and we got to see Mount Fuji from there as well. go to Kichijoji, which is one of my favorite spots in Japan. Go
Mm.
to Ghibli Museum, Inokashira Park. But also Yoyogi Park was so nice. That was my first time properly going into Yoyogi Park rather than just the
Oh,
shrine.
really?
But I
Yeah.
feel after this trip, at least to me, I feel so much
Mm.
more like I know it. Even on the first day, when I was like, oh yeah, I just like took us back to hostel, and you're like, what? Like, cause I just turned down a thing and it was just there. And you're like, how do you just know what that
Yeah.
was?
So many times, like Cameron would just walk in this direction very confidently, of like, and then we would emerge exactly where. Like I showed this guy like this vague gluten-free spot on the map for like 3 seconds, and you just locked in. Didn't need to see the phone. You just walked in a direction for like 20 minutes, and then we were there. I was like,
I just
"What?
knew where it was
How?
because I can
How?" Yeah.
I just I
No.
just know Japan. I
Just
walked it
get
a
directions.
ton. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know the
Yeah.
streets of Tokyo. What everyone,
Mm.
I'm sure everyone wants to know because it's the most
Mm.
hotly talked about thing in regards to Japan, right? What
How's the
was
ramen?
the worst thing in Japan? Because everyone
Ah,
wants to hate
the
on
worst
Japan all the
thing.
time.
Okay, so yeah, we got a lot of positives, and I feel like no matter what I'm about to say now, I feel like it's a minute thing. The positives definitely like overshout anything that I say. But like just about Japan in general, like I don't know. Yeah, what would you say? I feel like because you've been there quite a lot more than I have,
Hmm.
so yeah.
Mine's a cop out answer, but mine is the tourists.
Ah!
This trip more than any other, I was like, man, there's too
Yeah,
many tourists.
yeah. This is said before, and it's gonna be a little basic, but I think I'm very used to a culture, like, living in Australia, where it's kind of normal. Like, people do make eye contact with each other out in the streets and in buses and stuff, and
Hmm.
sometimes will smile at you, and when that happens, it's like, okay, my date is like 150% better because I'm a big extrovert. But like I think when I started off in Japan, I'd be smiling at people, and then people would actively turn their face away, and I was just like, oh,
I kind of like that though.
oh. I know. I completely think I understand
Japan
why.
is a
Yeah,
dream for introverts. Like
I know. I
it's
know.
so
I can understand
you have to
it.
go out of
I
your way
can.
to find extra. You have to get Japanese people drunk for them to be extroverted.
But like, here's the thing: I did get used to it, and I ended up enjoying it myself. So I will say that. But at the start, I was like, I don't exist here. Like, I was like, oh, it was a little sad. It was hard to get used to. But then by the end of the trip, I was like, haha, I don't exist here. I am a ghost. I move where I want. Look, for any extroverts going to Japan, it's okay. Like, you will learn. It'll be fine.
Meanwhile,
Just became me being,
I was
yeah.
balling.
Yeah, yeah, from the start, you're like, let's hecking go. People do not acknowledge my existence.
But yeah, so do you think you're definitely gonna go back to Japan someday,
Yeah, 100%.
sooner
I'd like
rather
to
than
go multiple
later?
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, hoping so, hoping
Hmm.
so. So I really want to learn more Japanese and then be able to go back.
Thank you for
Yeah,
recording this with me.
yeah, no, it's good. I enjoyed revisiting all of these. That it's been pretty cool to think about them.
I want to say thank you for watching, and again, thank you to Steph for joining me in this video. I'll leave her social media down below if you're interested in checking her stuff out. She's an artist like I am and makes some comics. They're all very good. And yeah, this was a longer video to make, and it took a little bit longer since there was so many drawings. I think this is the most I've done for one video. But it was still really fun to talk about, and it was just a fun discussion video, so I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did or want to see more, leave a like or comment and even subscribe. And if people are interested, I might release like a full uncut version, since we did actually talk for a whole hour about the trip. So if people are interested in that, it could be like a fun little podcasty thing to release. So yeah. I apologize, this video took a little bit longer to come out. I had a tropical cyclone hit the city I'm living in and dealt with flooding and all that kind of stuff. Plus it just took a bit longer. So we should be back to your regular scheduled, roughly weekly videos shortly after this one. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching. And if you listen to me blab for Japan this much, you must really enjoy it. So we share that in common. Thank you.